The enormous deposits of sand that were found in Port Washington proved to be the foundation of a new age in New York City. Since sand mining began in the late 17th century, over 140 million yards of sand were shipped by barge from Port Washington to New York to build its famous skyscrapers and infrastructure. That's enough sand to cover the entire Empire State Building, starting from the East River and ending at the Hudson.
You may ask the question, why was sand specifically from Port Washington so widely used in the construction of New York? Well, the quality of the sand, known as Cow Bay sand, was extremely fine. It was great for making sidewalks, buildings, tunnels, and other constructions that are widely used throughout New York City. In fact, 90% of the sand used in the construction of New York City was straight from Port Washington. So much sand was mined here that you can still see some of the remains of the sand mines today. Now, just walking along the water in my own neighborhood here, you can see some of the evidence of the sand mines behind me. This all used to be big, enormous, looming sand mounds, and when they took the sand to ship it by barge to New York City, they just took the sides out of these mountains. Now we're left with steep slopes, overgrown trees and shrubs. But now this spot today is used for a beautiful vista and beach spot for the locals.
Here's an aerial image of 3 of the sand mines that used to exist in Port Washington. Notice how each mine has created a crater, leaving all of the land around it elevated. It may be hard to picture, but this is the same beach extension as just seen. As you can probably imagine, it is an extraordinary feeling to see what the neighborhood that I've lived in all my life looked like during the sand mining era.
It's hard to imagine, but this entire golf course behind me was formed by sand mining. All the mining created a huge crater. As you can see, all the land around it is elevated. Now, we have this monument to pay tribute to the brave miners who worked from dawn to dusk to provide the foundation for building New York City. Here's a conveyor belt that was used towards the end of the sand mining era in Port Washington. The sand was taken up from the mine and put onto trucks to take to the refinery. After that, the sand was put onto barges to ship directly to New York City. Some miners are quoted to say that they were happy to do the work because they knew that they were building New York City. Others said that the sand in Port Washington had a life of its own. It was born here and it grew up to become part of the New York skyline.